All right, let's get right into it. If you think creatine is just for bodybuilders in their 20s, think again. Science has shown us for a long time now that for those of us over 50, it is a seriously powerful tool. We're talking about fighting muscle loss, boosting brain health, and just holding on to the strength that, let's be honest, aging tries to chip away at. But here's the thing, there's a big catch. Taking it the wrong way, well, it can be almost as useless as not taking it at all.
And get this, the numbers are pretty shocking. A whopping 90% of people over 50 who start using creatine are making mistakes that totally sabotage its potential. Or even worse, they're causing problems they really don't need.
So the big question is, could you be one of them? In this explainer, we're going to break down the 10 most common mistakes people over 50 make with creatine. And you're definitely going to want to stick around because mistake number 5 is the one almost everybody gets wrong.
So first things first, let's talk about the why. What is creatine really promising us after 50? And what are the initial pitfalls we need to look out for?
You know, the biggest reason creatine is such a game changer for this age group is its power to fight this one word right here, sarcopenia. This is that gradual, age-related loss of muscle and strength. And this isn't about vanity. It's about being able to get up out of a chair with ease, carry your own groceries, and maintain your independence. Creatine gives your body a real fighting chance against that decline.
Now this brings us to mistake number 6, and it's a big one. Trying to save a few bucks on a cheap off-brand creatine. I get it, it's tempting, but here's the peril. These uncertified products can be a minefield of impurities, sometimes even heavy metals, and the dosage, it can be all over the place.
The solution, thankfully, is super simple. You want to look for creatine monohydrate that has an internationally recognized seal of quality. The most famous one is CREATINE. This basically guarantees that what's on the label is what's in the tub and that it's pure. It's a small price to pay for safety and, for actually getting the results you want.
Okay, now for section 2. Let's tackle some of the things that can pop up in the first few weeks that might make you second-guess what you're doing, both when you step on the scale and when you go to the doctor.
And this is mistake number 1, freaking out about the scale. In the first couple of weeks, you might see your weight jump up by, say, 1 to 3 kilograms. And the immediate thought is, oh no, I'm gaining fat. But you're not. That is not fat. Creatine's job is to pull water into your muscle cells. This is a good thing. It hydrates them and helps them perform better. The scale is telling you a misleading story. The real metrics, the things you should be paying attention to, are what you see in the mirror, how your energy levels feel, and how you're performing in your workouts. That's the real story.
So you've gotten past the scale anxiety. But then comes mistake number 2, and this one can be genuinely scary. You go for a routine blood test, and a few days later, your doctor calls, sounding concerned. Your creatinine levels are high, and they're worried about your kidneys.
Okay, deep breath. Here's what's actually happening. Creatinine is just a normal waste product from creatine being used in your body. So, if you're supplementing with creatine, of course your creatinine levels are going to be higher. For someone with healthy kidneys, this is what we call functionally elevated. It's normal and expected. It is not the same as a pathologically elevated level, which would signal a real kidney issue.
And the fix to avoid all this stress is so simple. Before you go for any blood work, just tell your doctor, hey, just so you know, I'm taking creatine. That's it. That one sentence provides the context they need to interpret your results correctly and saves everyone a whole lot of unnecessary worry.
All right, with those early hurdles out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 3 is all about the daily habits, the small things that actually make all the difference between success and failure.
Which brings us right to mistake number 3, underdosing out of fear. It's a common thought process, right? I'll just take a little bit to be safe. But with creatine, taking less than 3 grams is pretty much just ineffective. Your muscles need that recommended dose of 3 to 5 grams a day to really become saturated, which is the point where the magic actually starts to happen. And next up, mistake number 4, forgetting to drink more water. Look, creatine and water are a team. They don't work without each other. Since creatine is pulling water into your muscles, you have to supply your body with more water to keep everything balanced. And what's really crucial here is that our sense of thirst can actually decline a bit after 50, so you can't always rely on it. A great rule to follow is to aim for at least 35 milliliters of water for every kilogram you weigh every single day.
And here we are, the big one we talked about at the beginning. Mistake number 5, and it is by far the most common mistake people make. Taking creatine on a totally empty stomach. So many people just throw it in some water first thing in the morning and call it a day. But when you do that, you might be leaving some serious benefits on the table.
See, a little bit of food, specifically carbs or protein, causes a small insulin release. And that insulin acts like a key, helping to unlock your muscle cells and shuttle more of that creatine inside. And look how easy this is to fix. You don't need a huge meal. Just take your creatine with a banana, a piece of toast, a small yogurt, or just with any meal or snack you're already having. It's a tiny tweak for a way better result.
And while we're on daily habits, let's bust mistake number 8. This whole idea of a loading phase. You've probably heard of it, taking like 20 grams a day for a week to load up. Honestly, just skip it. For most people, especially as we get older, these massive doses just lead to an upset stomach. And that discomfort can make you quit before you even feel the benefits. A steady 3 to 5 grams a day will get you to the exact same place, just without all the drama.
Okay, we've covered the day-to-day. Now, in Section 4, let's zoom out a bit and talk about mindset, because how you think about this process is just as important as how you do it.
And this leads to a really subtle but dangerous one. Mistake number 7, going too hard, too soon. A few weeks in, the creatine kicks in, and you suddenly feel stronger in the gym. It's an amazing feeling. But here's the trap. Your muscles adapt to that new strength very quickly. Your tendons and ligaments, however, adapt much more slowly. This creates a vulnerability window where your muscles can lift a weight that your connective tissues aren't ready for. The key is patience. Progress your training load gradually.
And speaking of patience, that brings us to mistake number 9, giving up way too soon. Creatine is not like caffeine. It's not a stimulant you feel in 30 minutes. It works by building up in your system over time. It can take a solid 3 to 4 weeks for your muscles to become fully saturated and for you to start noticing those real results in your strength and energy. Quitting after a week or two is like planting a garden and then giving up because you don't see tomatoes the next day. You have to give it time.
All right, let's bring it all home. In our final section, we're going to lay out the blueprint, the big picture philosophy that ensures creatine becomes a true ally in your health journey.
And this all boils down to the final and maybe the most important mistake of all, number 10. And that's thinking of creatine as some kind of magic pill, a savior that's going to fix everything on its own. It's not. The best way to think about it is this. Creatine is an amplifier. It takes the good work you're already doing and makes it better.
It can't build a strong house on a shaky foundation. For creatine to really deliver, you have to have that foundation in place. We're talking about getting deep, restorative sleep, eating enough protein to actually build and repair muscle, being consistent with your training to give your muscles a reason to get stronger, and managing your stress. Creatine doesn't replace these things. It makes them work even better.
So there you have it. You've got the roadmap to avoid all the common mistakes. You have a powerful, safe, and scientifically backed tool in your hands, and now you have the instruction manual to use it the right way. The only question left is, what are you going to build?